real estate investing show for startup angel investors. If you haven't done so already, right over here, please check out startupireashow.com. We're doing pre-recorded live videos as we speak, and we're launching December 1st, 2021, which is actually in 13 days. And in regards to that, I actually have a guest on right here. I'm going to cue him in. His name is Jacob Dawson. According to his LinkedIn, he's an advisor and brand ambassador at Tesla, a real estate investor, an angel investor, and really an entrepreneur at heart. So I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, how you doing? Jacob Dawson here. Just happy to be on the show and kind of walk you guys through how I got to the point where I'm at today.
Awesome. So typically to start off the show, I start off with a personal question of why is it that you do what you do now in regards to startup angel investing or real estate? So
Crazy long story. So let me take you back to high school, right?
Okay.
Graduated here in Chicago back in 2017. And I went directly into the business school at St. Louis University. Was there for only one semester where I was DJing, hosting parties and stuff.
Yep.
And that was a great segue for me to start my first company called Partyholics.
Yeah.
Partyholics was a company designed around taking drugs and alcohol out of the party scene for the high school and the college students.
Right.
We did that pop-up warehouse parties, put DJs there, security guards, lasers, lights, smoke machines, vendors, everything.
Wow.
That was going great for about 18 months. And then I exited and sold my portion of the company back to my co-founders. Took a bit of a break for a couple of weeks. And then I'm like, okay, I need to continue to do something right now. So I did social media marketing. Got the original idea from Ty Lopez. Have you heard of Ty Lopez?
Yeah, he always pops up on mine because I actually watch his stuff. So with his cars in the garage. Keep going.
Yeah, so I actually saw that video and I'm like, this sounds super interesting. This lines up pretty well with what I'm looking to do. Didn't pay for the course, but I just started Googling, figuring it out. And yet it's completely true. You can have clients paying you thousands a month. And as long as you're making them back more money in profit and you can show them that, they don't care what you charge. So I did that for about a year or so. And then I ended up really not liking it because it was way too much computer time and not enough in-person client time, right? You talk to them and then you're kind of pushed off with the office manager, like the Karen, if you will, that thinks they know what they're doing. But then they're hiring you to fix the problem. So you're always butting heads. And that was a super unhealthy relationship to have with 10 plus clients all at the same time. So took a hiatus from that, let my clients go off, or I moved them and hooked them up with one of my partners that was also doing social media marketing. And then I started my third and final company called Block 20. And Block 20 was an esports startup that focused on helping users find, create, and review esport events near you. And the thesis was, right, you had gamers. Then I used to be, I guess, competitive gaming back in like Modern Warfare 3 days. If you guys remember that game. And I made money off it. I always wanted to go to tournaments. So we made the platform where the event hosts that I knew from the Partyholics day, right, could host these events, but then we also had the gamers. The whole thing fell through when my co-founder and I couldn't agree on a pricing model. The main butting heads was we wanted to charge the venues, right, to post basically marketing on our platform. And the gamers were always going to be free. They'd be served ads, whatever. But we found that a lot of non-for-profits really wanted to host these events because, they want to make a profit, but they also want to give that money back at the end of the year to not-for-profit, at the end of the day. But then I kind of separated with that idea and then went back to school here in Chicago. Because during this whole time, we're talking 2 years, I kind of paused school. I'm like, okay, great. Got some money in my pocket. Let me go back to school. Went back to a community college, kind of in a hiatus area to build up some more credits to go back to St. Louis University. So I was doing that. And then I'm like, I'm really not liking this whole school thing. I was never really good at school, but I've always been pretty pretty good at kind of just talking and real life stuff that school doesn't put a huge emphasis on.
Right.
So basically, drop back out of school. I'm like, okay, great. I have enough credits now, finally, to apply for St. Louis University, but let me do a quick summer internship, see what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, Grant Cardone, I found him on YouTube, right? The real estate guy.
Right.
Back then, his content was super juicy, full of real estate stuff. Didn't buy the courses, the books, just got the basic real estate knowledge there. And I'm like, okay, cool. What if I do a summer internship, right? Doing real estate. How hard could that be? So I applied for like 50 different places,
Okay.
seriously, all online. And then I only get a call back from 2 of them. One of them was from a firm called Cap Rock Real Estate. The other one was from another firm out in New Jersey. And basically, long story short, I was hired on as a brokerage intern where I joined the company. And after a couple of weeks, I'm like, honestly, this work of, I'm not really feeling this. Is this really commercial real estate? They're like, no, it's like analyst intern stuff where you're building spreadsheets and you're doing the cold call lists. And you can't walk real estate on the phone with anybody, because you're not licensed. You can't do it. So I'm like, okay, guys, your website, thinking back to my social media marketing time, your website's not the best. Your marketing flyers aren't the best, etc. So I went into the CEO's office and I say, hey, man, let me fix this for you. I'm not going to charge you a penny. I'm an intern here. He's like, all right, what's the worst that could happen? So I whipped the website into shape, redo all the marketing material, and then I also moved the company, and this is pre-COVID, to an online server, right? I'm like, something's going to happen. Like, you guys have one server, and it's just going to get destroyed somehow. So we moved it all digital, redid the flyers, and at the end of the internship, as I'm getting ready to pack things up, go to school, they're like, hey, do you want to be a broker with us? We'll pay for your education. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Just take a hop on the opportunity, okay?
Exactly, right? Because in my perspective, school's always there. They always want your money. And it doesn't matter where you go as long as you have a piece of paper that says, I went through this stuff for 4 years and here's my diploma now. And in the real world, you don't really use most of that stuff anyways.
Right.
You become licensed, take the test, fail the first time, but I get it the second time and I'm licensed in Illinois to do real estate. The residential commercial stuff is the same. One license covers it all. Right. So then I proceed to do brokerage and I provide my clients during the pandemic. And this is right at the start of the pandemic, now that I'm full-time, right? I do 200 million worth of off-market deals with my clients in the retail space, which is multi-tenant retail, right? Like your strip center or your mall. And then the single tenant triple net retail, which is like your Starbucks centers, which is like your Walmarts. It's a lower return investment, but it's a lot safer because it's one lease that's like 20 or 25 years. If you buy it new, and a lot of investors love it, but it's a lower return. So I do primarily those deals. And then I'm just kind of sitting there one day and then I apply for Tesla. I'm like, okay, what's the worst that could happen? Go through the interview process there. And then I look at kind of the structure of what they're offering for the Tesla advisor position. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. Accept the offer, talk with my real estate people. And I'm like, guys, I'm going to do real estate part-time. I'm at the point now where I've kind of generated that book of business, if you will, and people are reaching out for some interest here and there. I'll take those deals up here and there, and then I'll use my license to sell my personal business real estate in the future. And they're like, that's awesome. Good luck at Tesla. And I've been at Tesla now since October of last year. Wow. So that's it.
Long story to say that there's a huge part of like you being consistent with like hopping onto the new train, new opportunity to find out who you are, what you actually are more passionate about. And wow. 2017, right? Partyholics.
Yeah.
Wow. we're like the same. Were you born in 1999?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was born in 2000. Okay, we're just not far off at all.
You
So,
you give a cooler number than I do.
oh,
Like
2000.
I'm like a '90s kid, not really, but like you started the 2000s. You know.
Well, you could joke around and actually say I was born in 2000, and then wait, pause for a second, and then say -1. That's what I do when people ask me in the real estate realm because it's mainly people that are more older than me. So I say I'm 30, and they believe it, and then I pause -9.
So here's actually the craziest thing. When doing all the deals and talking on phone calls and stuff, you just have to come off and present yourself as
Correct.
being kind of professional. You vaguely know what you're talking about to hold the conversation. You'll fill in the gaps later, right?
Yep.
And you're like, oh, okay. People think you're 30, think you're 35. And then just like I'm thinking before we went live today, you're like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 22. You're like, what?
I'm 21.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that great story in regards to the background in regards to like starting uh, really defining what entrepreneur at heart really means to you. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious now, what does it mean to be an angel investor and a real estate investor for you? Or what's that background look like? When did you hop on that train?
Yeah, so my real estate company, right, my brokerage firm is kind of what we call a full service
Yeah.
firm, right? Where we invest for ourselves if the deal is good. We can do the brokerage and the leasing, right, helping
Right.
people buy and sell and lease their real estate. And
Mhm.
we also do the property management
Okay.
side of the business, right? So it's full circle. And long term, that's what I want to do. Can manage my own properties so it's cheaper on a per property basis, and I
Oh,
can
in
sell
house.
that management service for a premium for people
Correct.
who don't want to manage their own properties.
Right. Right.
How does
Right.
that relates to me getting involved with real estate? Well, I could roll in my commissions to the company's real estate investments. So it's pretty cool, actually. That way, it's a passive investment for me, genuinely passive. And I know that it's managed professionally because I'm literally sitting next to the guys that are doing it.
Yeah.
Um, so that kind of opened the door, right? And now I'm more focused on the 2 to 4 unit multifamily space right now.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm focused on those smaller deals and not the bigger deals is all about the lending, right?
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
you buy it through a business and then you're building the business's credit
Correct.
worthiness by doing that. The first deal you got to go in solo, put up your house or your car or whatever, because the bank's not going to trust you on an investment. So that's
That's
the
right.
first barrier, if you're going out on your own, of course. Um, but then after that, you just cycle the money through. So that's what I look at because the lending's more attractive from an
Correct.
interest rate perspective and a down payment perspective.
Okay. Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about your experience in angel investing?
100%. Yeah. So going back to my previous investments, right? They've always been slightly disruptive, not
Hmm.
like changing the game or anything, right? But we did a bit of a spin on an existing thing that already existed, but we
Right.
consolidated it, right?
Right.
So I look for businesses like that. I've only found one thus far that I trust the founders and I know the founders.
Hmm.
And I put money towards it, right? And it actually came out of 1871 in
Wow.
Chicago. It's basically like a business incubator
Correct.
group that's out of the Merchandise Mart, kind of like Y Combinator in California, but a little bit less prestigious.
Correct.
Um, but just my philosophy with that is, right, like you have to know the founders and you have to have no meetings, just grab coffee with them or a drink or whatever your poison is, right? And
Yeah.
just talk with them about the idea and just ask them a couple questions and shut up. And they'll just talk about everything. And if they're genuinely passionate about it, about their idea, it's going to come off, right? And then you just follow the train of thought. And if you align on the vision, if you trust them,
Hmm.
then lastly, if the numbers look good, that's when you can go all in and say, okay, let's put my money where my mouth is.
Correct. Correct. I'm seeing that with startup angel investors, they choose like 30 let's say startups to invest in, and hopes that one becomes a unicorn, if not like 10x, 100x. So what are your thoughts on, um, relating it back to your background, startup angel investors diversifying in real estate for cash flow?
Yeah, great that you brought this up. So like when you look at a startup, right,
Yeah,
it's gonna need more money eventually. You're gonna be diluted unless you write something in there that you're not going to be diluted. But then again, what value are you providing to ask for that, right?
right.
Um, but when you invest in real estate, that pays you every month, right? You get the cash flow from it, you get the equity buildup, right? And then you get the capital appreciation. You
Yep.
get the three benefits from real estate that will basically pad your portfolio, right? There's going to be upticks and downticks. And then the exit strategy for most angel investors that I've seen is you either go to IPO
Right.
stage, which is super, super tough,
Or sell off
um,
the business.
or you sell your position for a higher share price, right? Or you get
Right.
acquired as a company and then everyone cashes out immediately, right? Um, and that's so risky. Even if you only put like 3, 4, 5,000 in it, or you're using the angel investing, crowdfunding platforms,
Mm-hmm.
all those are so risky. You're just tossing your money, hoping it's going to work. Sometimes you have a high hope it works, right?
Correct.
You know it's going to work, but it doesn't pay you every month
Right.
because
Right.
those startups don't have the money.
Right.
I think people should invest in real estate as well as angel investing. If you know for a fact that you really want to get into angel investing and you just want to help companies and the money's great on the end of it, right? Which
Right.
is should be what it's for, right? The real estate will literally provide you money every month to do that, right? As opposed to you having to work a daily job or pull from your inheritance or your stocks or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I was like, as a follow-up question, I'm curious, like, as a three-time founder, not sure if you're gonna do a fourth one, but basically a three-time founder, an angel investor. I was curious as to like, where do you put your money after exiting those? Like, do you put it in another company, or do you put it in real estate? So,
So there's different strategies, right?
okay,
I like to think about tax efficient strategies and talk to your CPA about that, of how to structure everything with your initial investment, because
correct.
that's all that matters, right?
Yep.
Um, don't take investment advice from me, but talk
Yeah.
to a CPA, they'll help you out. Where does the money go? Whatever's most efficient, right? I believe in real estate first mentality, right?
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, there's something called a 1031 exchange
Yeah.
with real estate where you can divert the profits into another asset without paying tax on the profits, the capital gains, right? Um, Typically, I put it into like assets. But with my first two companies that I actually made a profit off of, right? The
Hmm.
social media one and then Partyholics, the party company.
Correct.
I had no idea about tax savings, advantages, whatever, and I got slammed with a big bill. So that money was just in my bank account, just kind of chilling. And that was just kind of diversified and whatever. I put a couple here, a couple there, whatever. Look at the bank account, it's empty, which is good, right? Because you don't really want a lot of
Cash.
money in your bank account. Your
Correct.
savings account, great, keep like 10 grand emergency money, but
Right.
like you want your money working. Look at tax efficient strategies of where to put your money after you exit.
So here's an important question. Uh, where is the barrier for startup angel investors, being more aware of these real estate opportunities? Because that's really,
Ooh,
really big.
that's a great question. Yeah.
If we're talking, you said real estate first mindset, that's what you have. How can people understand that more? Really, that's what this is.
It all comes down to understanding how to do the math on a
Okay.
deal, right? Because if you're not confident in how to run numbers on a deal to know if it's a good investment or not, you're going to get nowhere,
Correct.
right? Um, so before you even start, considering buying properties, right? Sure, think about it. But go on places like LoopNet if you're more into the bigger side of things, right? They have
Right.
commercial real estate. Go on like Zillow, right? And find the smaller deals and figure out how to get your NOI, your net operating income. What expenses have to go into this property? Okay, cool.
Right.
What's the debt look like on the deal, right? Interest rates. How do we do the math? And at the end of the day, at the very bottom of the spreadsheet, how much will I take away? And that's just if you're doing a personal investment deal, right?
Sure.
If you're bringing in other people's money, how do they get paid? You know, just having that understanding of how the deal looks with the numbers. If you can master that, which it only takes like a weekend. I mean, this stuff isn't rocket science.
Yeah.
Just go on YouTube. There's a billion videos out there. I made my own personal spreadsheet that just basically has my personal return metrics. And I just punch in a deal, and a big area will light up green where it says buy it, or a big red area where it says don't buy it, right?
Got it. Yeah.
And that's what I did. But once you have the numbers down, right, it's all about networking with either people that are putting deals together so that they can put their money in and make it passive for themselves, or if they want to really manage it and get the most return possible, right? They contact brokers and realtors and say, okay, great, here's my price point. How do I get into this? You don't need to know everything, just know the numbers for the deal and ask for help with the brokers, and they'll give you deals.
Yeah. So really, see more deals, know your numbers. I mean, for the most part, it's all about educating yourself much more to actually understand how the real estate stuff works.
Oh yeah.
In addition to the startup stuff. So we're coming to a close here. Any final thoughts or 2 cents you would advise angel investors looking to diversify?
Yeah, 100%. Just be hungry, right? And don't be afraid to physically go out there and just go to like startup networking events. The ones that you see online or the ones you hear about from people, I mean, those are already picked through, right? And the really, really good ones you don't really hear about unless you go into your biggest city around you and you literally Google real estate networking events or small business networking events, and just go in and be like, hey, you know, I'm an angel investor. Tell me about your business, please. And that's basically it. Just be hungry and don't be afraid to ask people what they're doing and how you can get involved or how can you help them, right?
That's a very great point. And then I think there's also the thing of like one of my mentors told me that trust but verify the data of what you're given. So test out some stuff and then do some more research instead of just being an analysis paralysis, looking up Investopedia and trying to understand it. So last question would definitely be, how can people learn more about you?
Yeah, just go on my LinkedIn. Feel free to add me. You can see my full history there. And that's basically it.
Yep, I'll include that in the description below. And otherwise, thank you very much, Jacob. I appreciate you being here on the Startup REI show, the #1 real estate investing show. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. And I'll end the live stream now. Okay.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.